Hello and welcome to the 100th episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor. And we actually have some racing to go at this weekend from Ascot, live on Sky Sports Racing, and up at Haydock as well. As I say, it is our 100th episode. I am dressed in mourning for the occasion, apparently. You two have made a reasonable effort all the same, though, Sam.
Yeah, I should have dug out that awful white jacket I wore for about our second show that I went viral for.
You did get a lot of comments.
Yeah, I got a lot of comments. I think it's gone to the back of the wardrobe, but we've had some fun along the way.
Was that the Claire Balding outfit?
Possibly, Dick,
okay.
yeah. But we've had some fun along the way. Hopefully found a few winners as well, and yeah, it's been good fun, isn't it,
100 not out. I never thought we'd get this far, but here we are.
I know, who would have thought it?
I thought you'd get this far, Dick, anyway.
Oh, well, I agree with that. I agree with that, yeah.
All of us still employed, as you say. We found a few winners along the way as well, but hopefully we are due for another 100 episodes then in due course as well. Fingers crossed, all being well. But of course, before we get on to the action this weekend proper, a reminder as ever to please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will still do our best to point you in the right direction. Right, we're going to begin at Ascot. As I say, all races live on Sky Sports Racing with the 2:15 handicap chase, 5-year-olds and over 2 mile 5. Wide open betting event in here. We have 4-1 co-favourites of 3 in here, which Deck just goes to tell you everything you need to know about this one.
Yeah, a competitive race, but look, I'm definitely not going to moan. We've got racing on, so hallelujah. Yeah, just the 10 runners here. I like Phlegmatic. I just wonder, has this been the plan for the old Dan Skelton trained horse? He's run 4 times this year. At Chepstow, I think he drifted from about 16s out to 50s. Clearly, you know, wasn't expected to go close. He ran at Ascot earlier in the season as well, drifted from 6s out to 15 to 2, and then he was a decent drifter again last time out behind Victorino around here. But there were signs of life last time out, and he is coming down the handicap now. This is a 100 grand race. There is 52k to the winner. And I just wonder, has this been the plan? The Skeltons, as we know, are very, very good target trainers. And like I said, there were signs of life this day. He was a little bit cold over the downhill fences, but he really came alive coming up Swinley Bottom. Now, this was a race run at a good gallop on really dead stamina sapping ground, and I just don't think he got home in the end. The drop down and trip on Saturday is absolutely going to suit him. He's run at Ascot 9 times. He's never won here before, but he's got plenty of good form. He runs off 132, take off another 3 for Tristan Durrell's £3 claim, and he is well handicapped to go close. And if this has been the plan, let's go, baby. Excited. I like him.
He is. I can tell. He has been really well backed, hasn't he? Now 4-1, one of those co-favourites.
He was quite a bit bigger when the selections were going through on Thursday, but
I know, but you've got to be buoyed by that though, at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'd rather the 6-1 or whatever was there. That would have been nicer.
Yeah, but at least he's going the right way in the market in the sense of the fact he's being supported and other people agreeing with you even before you've said it. So naturally, they're going to steam in now even more. So Sam, have you seen the money for Phlegmatic?
Yeah, definitely notable. I don't think we were quite as big as some of the other firms with double-digit prices, Deck. But sits there at 4-1. Obviously, the co-favourites are 3 as we record this. But I think whilst Deck's selection's been popular, I'm expecting mine to drift to an even bigger price because Bad sometimes does live up to his name, doesn't he?
He's cursed with that name.
I'm going in again.
I actually want to hear this case. Come on.
Look, listen, we all know that he can be, how shall we say, just a little bit difficult when he gets towards the front. And we're watching a few compilation clips of him getting chinned at Ascot, I think, on the last couple of starts. This season had the 3 runs, 2 of them coming at Ascot. And the run the last day was at Southall the other way round and finished second. But I just feel going back this way will help. Going up in trip is quite interesting. I think that is actually going to potentially be a positive. Now, Deck, you're the pace man really on this show.
Yes.
I thought there was enough to go with him here. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think what I wrote down for my pace chart was I think the early gallop will be good and honest, like it usually is coming up Swinley Bottom, but then I wouldn't be surprised if it all settled down. Is how I looked at it. Yeah, I didn't think there was mountains of pace on here, but enough there for the likes of maybe Cotmas, Scarface to go forward, and Kansas City Star as well. Actually, he likes to go forward. He nearly made all, but he was headed at Donny.
So my plan for Bad is that he's going to have a few sort of people to take him into the race.
Okay, you want a pace collapse of sorts.
A kind of blinkers are going on as well, which might just eke out that sort of bit of improvement. up in trip as well. I do appreciate people might be like, oh, it's bad though, he's going to dog it. I think you've got to have faith. And I'd say he's a good each way price, if nothing else. His Ascot form, he's only been out the frame once at Ascot, albeit a couple of those are small field events, so he wouldn't have got paid each way, to be fair. But he does seem to run well here. And I just felt I'm prepared to go once more to the well. I didn't think this was the strongest looking race. There's a few in here I think you can put lines through. And I kind of just felt I'm going to give Ben Pauling's horse one more chance. And you can play each way at that price. So if he does his usual and ends up in the frame but not winning, you'll get your money back.
Once more into the breach, dear friends.
Last time into the breach, I think. But we'll give him a go.
Yeah, like I say, he's getting the headgear on then, isn't he? You would be playing him each way, though.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, at 13-2 then. He's just cursed with that name, isn't he, Bad? But good compilation, though, of him finishing in the places all the same.
Yes.
So at least we've seen that from him. Now, our first race, we're going with 3 different selections here. Great race, cracking contest. The fact it's so wide open. But the form line that was really interesting me was between these two co-favourites then as well, Copmask and Martator. These two facing off again. Martator did open up as the market leader. Copmask was second in. Now, of course, you can see 4-1 about the 3 of these. But it is Copmask, though, who interests me most, who finally pulled it together last time out. And hopefully he's going to be able to double up on that success, which we're looking at now, came a month ago at this track at Ascot over 2 mile 3. So he is up another 2 furlongs for this one. But this was really likeable, despite his usual mistakes, which just seem to be him at this stage. But he's managed to figure out his own way of doing things. Provided his jockey sits tight, they could still show decent form then. Clearly he likes Ascot as well. He was third over 2 mile 1 at this track on his reappearance. Then off a £1 rise, he was second over the same trip over 2 mile 1 at his penultimate start. Off the same mark of 130 last time out, up in distance. Again, improving marginally then to gain that deserved success, as I say. So finally pulling it all together there. But of course, as I say, it's his old foe Martator in here who beat him on his reappearance, beat him by further on Copmask's penultimate start. So he does have enough to find. But then you look at it, that penultimate start, they were effectively running off level weights because of taking jockeys' claims into account then. Copmask should be getting £18 from Martator, but of course Neb Fox's £3 claim takes it down to £15. Still a massive pull though in the weights. And with Copmask getting it right last time out, I just thought he was worth chancing to be able to reverse the form. Sam, we've got something different with the price boost, though.
We have.
Rather than our bet boost.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kate, as well, you can play him running on BetVictor as well. So maybe if you want to see Copmask get into a nice rhythm and maybe avoid that regular jumping error he tends to make, that could be one way of going it. But you mentioned the price boost, changing it up. Traders had a word. Basically, I think they felt like we want to do something different New Year. So before we get to the Cheltenham anti-post, they're going to pick through some of the races that we covered today. And they've really wanted to take on Martator. They felt the horse wasn't that well handicapped at this stage. So there's your price boost. Ooh. If you do like Venetia Williams' horse, you're going to get a boost to 5-1 from 4-1. And that is dynamic. So if the horse drifts, the boost will get bigger as well on the weekend winners microsite.
Interesting about a horse who's unbeaten in 3 starts at Ascot.
Yes, exactly. The fact he's got such a good record here. He still looks on the improve as well. So Chris Paul, is it, who's sticking his neck on the line? We're going to blame him.
Chris has created them this week. So we might try and get some feedback from Chris each week on what he's taking on. But he was quite happy to do that.
Fair play to him, putting his neck on the line there about such an informed horse as well. 4-1 to 5-1. Then make sure to head to the website or the QR code then to take advantage of that boost. Right, we're going to move on to the 250 at Ascot now. Handicap hurdle, 4-year-olds and over 2 mile 3. Bo Zenith is just about shading favouritism for Nicky Henderson, who's won 2 of the last 4 runnings of this. So Sam, is he going to win another one?
Yeah, I think he will. Really unoriginal selection heading the betting there, but Bo Zenith, go back and if, like me, you're trying to have a New Year's resolution, one of my many ones was to try and utilise data a bit better and be more open-minded to it when it comes to using it in my betting. Bo Zenith, first seen for Nicky Henderson this year, just before Christmas at Cheltenham, finishes 3rd. But the data you want to look at is the finishing speed. There was a lot of things picked up by various data firms on how well this horse was travelling towards the end of the race and the ground he was making up. Definitely looked to, obviously, probably need the run. The handicap has put him up £3, which, I don't know, on the face of it, looked a bit harsh. But then when you look at the data, does actually that £3 rise look fairly fair? Possibly. I'm expecting him to come on for that run. That's the big thing as well. He's obviously needed a bit of time to adjust, and it'll only be his second start for Nicky Henderson. The season last year, we're seeing him where he finished second in the Grade 1 at Aintree. I think there's enough form in the book to suggest that could still have some juice in that mark. 7-2. How deep is this race? I'm not so sure it's the deepest renewal of this kind of contest we'll ever see. I know Josh the Boss did me a big turn at Chepstow at the start of the season, but can't fancy his chances. I suppose the market naturally has found Outerbelly to be the next nearest threat to Bo Zenith, but I'm quite pleased to see James Bowen on once again. I'm not too worried that Nico's on Doddy the Great. I think Bo Zenith will give you a good run for your money, and at 7-2 is probably about as short as I want to play, but I think he's a win proposition.
Yeah, with the data, though, backing him up as well, because he was such an eye-catcher last time out, and you did wonder, is there a future target in mind? Is this the future target? Is the Newbury Hurdle, whatever it's called now, is that going to be a future target? You know, it's asking a whole load of questions of him in here, though, but Bo Zenith, he definitely looks well handicapped, Deck.
Yeah, I'm just really glad that all three of us are data and not data people. Yeah, he did finish quite strongly the last time, didn't I thought this was a race to have a bit of a swing at now, if I'm honest. Bo Zenith is going to have a second run back off an injury layoff. Outerbelly, you know, isn't the most straightforward. He can hang, and I wonder is the ground getting a little bit quick. Doddy the Great, that form last season in the Betfair Hurdle, that's obviously strong form, but he's been very hit and miss since then. You know, Camsanass, Bowen, Spark, and Georgie Girl, they all look like horses you probably want a little bit further and maybe want softer ground as well. So the horse, I think, is worth a bit of a wild swing here. It's not even on that graphic, and it's Stoner's Choice. Now, he has got an awful profile for the race as a 10-year-old. 10-year-olds simply do not win this race, but he's had 2 runs this season. He's been in great order, and he was taken on younger legs this day at Ascot in East India Express, who has gone on to subsequently win at Kempton, and double powerful there. You can see in the noseband in yellow. He is been on an incredible roll and ran in an incredibly strong race at Cheltenham on his previous start, and he gave those 6-year-olds plenty to think about going to the second last and the last, as you can see here, but you can just see him weaken out of it. I think the drop-in trip on Saturday on nicer ground is going to be key to his chance, and look, he just looks in good order. BetVictor are paying 4 places. I'm happily to have a big each-way swing at him at a wild price.
Yeah, well, you made a good case after you pulled that back around. I didn't know where we were quite going to go.
Well, look, sometimes I think Donald Trump calls it the weave. Maybe I was doing a bit of a weave
Maybe
there.
that's what happened.
I came back around.
Empty to half full.
Yeah, I came back around. Yeah.
But you did. You pulled it back around and made a good case for a horse at a big price as well. So not to dispute that whatsoever. I'm far less original, because when I looked at this, it's just your ideal type of race where you think, OK, there has to be however many horses here at wrong prices that I can disagree with the traders on this one then. But then I went through it and I was like, oh, I just kind of agree, really, with everything. And I can't really find one that I think is overpriced as such. Interesting, Outerbelly has now found itself as second favourite, because I was between Bo Zenith, Doddy the Great. I'm not one bit surprised if Bo Zenith goes and wins this, so I'm happy that Sam's got him. But I'll side with Doddy the Great, though, now at 11-2, so he's probably the one now that is ever so marginally the price that would interest me most. Now, we're going to look back at him in the Betfair Hurdle from last year when he finished 4th, and he probably should have finished 3rd. But he absolutely munched the last, though, so that just cost him on this day. But this was off of a £3 higher mark than he's running off of in this contest as well. So he is a horse where I'm hoping he can get some sort of justification then for last time out, where he got no sort of a race. He pulled up after the first, after having a horse whip around at the start, nearly just, well, it did. It cost him every chance there afterwards. So sensibly, he was looked after. But as I say, in this race, though, finishing 4th for 21 in the Betfair Hurdle, and he just looked as though he wanted to step up in trip, even on this day, which he subsequently got. But he subsequently got it in a lot tougher races as well. But as a result of that, he has come back down the handicap. As I say, he's running £3 below his Betfair Hurdle rating as well. Should be going close, provided no one tries to take him out at the start this time round. If Outerbelly goes and wins, I'll be fuming, because I think I napped him last time in that bizarre Doncaster race.
Yeah, I
weird.
was with him that day as well. He's not straight. I think the step up and trip will help him.
Yeah.
And weren't you with Georgie Girl?
I
Cheltenham
was
as well?
at Cheltenham. Yeah, it was an okay run, and then was due to run last weekend as well, where I think you might have been with her last weekend.
Yeah, I liked her in the Lanzarote. I just thought the soft ground and step up and trip would help, but yeah, look, this is what's happening now because we've had so many abandonments the last couple of weeks. The racing is properly competitive and decent fields. So
and horses we've made cases for now all getting chucked into the mix. You're trying to abandon them, but you're keeping half in. It's a really tricky time of year, isn't it? But all three of us then with different selections in that super competitive handicap hurdle. Do let us know in the comments section below who you fancy for that race. Right, we're going to move on to the big one of the weekend now, the Grade 1 Clarence House Chase. It comes up at 3:32, 5 rods and over 2 miles and half a furlong. The big clash, of course, between Jonbon and Energumene. Jonbon, though, the odds-on favourite at 4-6, Sam.
Yeah, we've got another instalment, haven't we, of Nicky Henderson versus Willie Mullins, which has been absolutely great to see. And who knows what happened at Trials Weekend, where we're hearing rumblings that Constitution Hill could be turning up, which would be fantastic to see him once again. But let's focus on this race. You've obviously got the pair in there. They seem to think, the bookmakers, that it's going to be a case of another round to Nicky Henderson, and I am in full agreement. I think that 4-6 is a very fair price about Jonbon. Let's go through some of the factors. First of all, Jonbon, his season so far, returned in the Schlur and perhaps was a little bit underwhelming that day, but stepped up in the Tingle Creek and was just absolutely class, wasn't he, I thought? And, won by, 6-7 lengths? I think he's a horse that perhaps because I don't even really know why. Is it just me that he feels a little bit like we don't kind of give him the accolades he deserves?
Yeah.
He's a 170 rated animal, and he turns up. He's not like he doesn't race plenty in the season. We see more or less as much as we should see from him. So I love him. Energumene, for me, the grounds are going to be a massive worry. I always remember that Champion Chase win when it came in absolutely bottomless ground. The wins at Cork always seem to be on very, very soft ground. And I'm amazed how good Ascot's going actually is when you read the going report. Obviously, we've had a lot of frost and snow, but clearly they've not obviously had too much on top in terms of rain. I just really want to be with Jonbon. I think 4-6 fair. I think he'll go off shorter. There you go. That's my prediction.
Yeah, 4-6. I thought anything bigger than 1-2 would just be a bet all day then about Jonbon in here. So I am more than happy with that price. And like I say, I wouldn't be surprised at all then if he shortened up as well. I was kind of surprised, if anything, really, about 4-6 still available about him. I'm with him as well here, seeing that lovely compilation as well. We had a really nice feature on him actually on the channel where Paddy Murphy, who rides the mouse every day, he spoke about him and said Nico de Boinville only gets on him literally at the base of the schooling field to go and take him down over the fences and then gets off him because they've got him now just tuned to perfection, haven't they? Because he hasn't always been the most straightforward horse in terms of the preliminaries.
Yeah.
He's kind of jig-joggy, gets hot and sweaty. And I feel that that's still a stick people beat him with, also with his price tag and his pedigree as well. But when you actually go through his career, he is a near flawless animal. You think about the only 3 times in his career he's been defeated. He's finished second on each of those 3 starts then. Of course, he was second in the rescheduled Clarence House Chase last year when he took the 4th last with him and still nearly won. Second to a well-unsung El Fabiolo in the Arkle and second to Constitution Hill in the Supreme. So he's unbeaten in the remaining 17 career starts and of his career. This way around is fine for him. This track is absolutely fine for him. He's a 9-year-old compared to his older rivals here. Should be in his prime as well. So I thought that was a very fair price.
Yeah, like that fizzy nature, I think, just probably comes from his sire walking the park. I think comes from like the Monjou family. They're just, they're just a little bit,
wired.
They get a little bit, wired, get a little bit hot, but supremely talented. And I don't know, kind of, I can get the view that people don't think he's like a brilliant racehorse, but his record is just incredible. So, I remember people were laughing at how much JP paid for him when they bought him originally.
Not laughing now.
He's paid that back in spades.
He has completely paid for that, hasn't he? Like you say, you actually go through his prize money and he's managed to recoup that and then some, and he's still only just turned a 9-year-old as well.
Yeah, so he should be at the peak of his powers now.
So surely you're with him?
I'm not with him because, people here, you don't need me to tell you Jonbon's got a good chance at 8-11. But BetVictor have priced up the race without Jonbon. And look, I like these markets because I think you can attack the race from a different angle. Sometimes you can get more bang for your buck. And I'm not saying Edwardstone is necessarily a value bet at 5-2, but, he's more of a working man's price than Jonbon at 8-11. And I just wonder here now, obviously, Jonbon's out of the equation here, but I see potentially a chance in Energumene and Jonbon taking each other on at the top end. Could the race maybe set up for each other now? Look, you've got Nico de Boinville and Paul Townend doing the riding, so two top-class riders are not going to be getting too silly. But, you know, Energumene is got a seriously high cruising speed, and I don't think Nico will want to give him too much rope. But I just wonder, could it set up for Edwardstone late on? Now, Energumene as well, the reason I want to take him on is because this is going to be his second run back off an injury layoff, and we just don't know how some horses act sometimes under those conditions. He's coming back from a tendon injury on his hock, and, you know, at Cork, while he looked good, I thought he was a good stone, maybe 15 or 16 pounds below what he did at around his career peak, which is absolutely fair enough. You know, it was his first start in a long time. You know, the horse who won the King George, Banbridge, was giving him 10 pounds that day and was giving him plenty to think about over the 2-mile trip. Edwardstone run an absolute screamer at Christmas off a rating of 163, giving mountains away to Soul Icon. He is, you know, I wouldn't say he's as good as ever, but he's still clearly in good health. He just loves the game. The race will set up nicely for him, and I just think he's a sporting bet to maybe run to finish second behind Jonbon if Energumene isn't as good as he was, doesn't like the ground, and potentially bounces on a second start.
Yeah, that's the concern, isn't it? I'm the president of Energumene's fan club, but the fact he's an 11-year-old now, he had all that time off. What's the Hillyway form really worth? So the without market, not a bad way to go.
And I should stress, like, at their career best, all these horses at their peak form, Energumene is comfortably the best. Like, that form behind Shishkin in this race three seasons ago is probably one of the strongest pieces of form of the last 10, 15, 20 years, I'd say. It's proper form, but is he as good? Tune into Sky Sports Race on Saturday to find out.
Nicely done. But Edwardstone then in the without market for you. Both of us two with Jonbon. Chris, though, is giving us another boost to go at. He's going with Energumene in this one.
So
I think he's going to put it all on Chris, by the way.
I think Chris is obviously in agreement that he wants to take on Energumene, so he's pushed him out there. And again, dynamic boost. So if he drifts, which is what I think he might do on the day, be interesting to see if Tony Bloom gets involved with it. That'll certainly change the price. Out to 11-4 there with ourselves, but we should have a great clash. Really looking forward to it. Again, that boost is on the microsite. You can use the QR code to get involved. I say with Energumene, actually, like you say, the complete opposite.
Well, yeah. He's boosted him out, Just to reiterate there, then the price boost about Energumene, 2-1 to 11-4. Again, as Sam said, do head to the website to take advantage of that price boost. Right, that is Ascot done and dusted for us for now. We're going to head north up to Haydock for the Peter Marsh Chase, a Premier handicap. Comes up at 2:30. 5-year-olds and over 3 mile, 1.5 furlong. So a slightly disappointing turnout in terms of numbers. A fair few of these perhaps scared away by Royal Pagaille in here, but he has only pushed out 2 horses from the weights in here. But of course, he did win this in 2021, 2022, trying to defy a mark of 166, Sam. Yeah, this is Royal Pagaille's race, is it not? Obviously, Haydock, tick, soft to heavy ground, which we know come Haydock will be absolutely bottomless. Obviously, the effort in the Betfair Chase. I quite like the fact Venetia's given the horse plenty of time. When we saw what happened with Grey Dawning, who obviously turned up in the King George and was, I think it's fair to say, disappointing, and be interesting to see where they work back from. How strong that race was, I suppose you can question that. He's obviously getting older. He's not going to be able to turn up at Haydock every year and win, but I have a sneaky feeling this could be a bit of a nice swan song for him. How strong is the race? That's certainly a really fair question. I'm quite a weirdo with handicaps. I tend to work from the bottom up. And that's why I think I kind of avoid... I think I underestimate top weights in handicaps. I cannot, because I think his record is so good. You know you're going to get a performance out of him. I don't want to take any shorter about him, but I certainly think he's worth a go. What are we, 9-4? Of the others in there, I struggle to make cases for anything out the 2 in behind. Mr. Van Gogh obviously could take another massive step forward. Trelawn, I'm going to leave that to one of you two because I believe someone's keen. I just took away from that the fact that you said you're a weirdo, work from the bottom up, though. Good to know all the
Great
same.
Quote.
Yeah, exactly.
Put that on the
Clip
caption.
that one out for sure. Tech. I won't ask how you work, but who do you like?
I like Trelawn. Yeah, look, I just think Royal Pagaille, look, obviously this is his favourite track, isn't it? The ground conditions, but he's an 11-year-old going to be running in heavy to soft ground off 166, carrying 12 stone. It would be a mammoth performance. And look, while he was good in the Betfair, typical typical Royal Pagaya performance, doesn't it? Looked in good order, took a few fences home with him, looked like he was beaten, rallied, got an incredible attitude, and then wins. So, yeah. But I'm going to give Trelawn one more chance. I was with him last time out when he ran behind Victorino at Ascot, and I just think the ground on the day went a little bit too quick for him. He can hang and he can't be the most straightforward at times, and I don't think he made Tom Bellamy's life too easy this day, but I'm hoping anyway that was down to the ground. I think he loved getting back on a softer surface. To be fair to him, he has looked in great order this year. He looks like he's in love with the game. He's jumping well, he's showing plenty of life, and his attitude is good, but I just think here he was in top gear for too long and it told late in a race that was well run. I have small stamina doubts about him in the ground. Kim Bailey, on the other hand, sees him, he could even thrive over this kind of trip. Hope Kim is right. Look, I still think he's fairly treated, incredibly lightly raced for his age. And he'll do for me. I'm hoping to recoup some losses from the last time at Ascot, where the ground, I think, just went against him. That will not happen at Haydock on Saturday. He's
so talented, isn't he? He is just such a quirky individual. You won't get a better looking horse. He's an absolute monster. So he should really, in theory, be fine over trip, ground, etc. as well, Trelawn. So I'm happy that the pair of you two have got Royal Pagaya and Trelawn covered here, because I do think that between the pair of those, they're the most likely winners. And Royal Pagaya, huge respect. He's just a big teddy bear, isn't he? He's fantastic, isn't he? He's 11 years old now, but like you say, he's ticking all the boxes in terms of conditions. And the fact that he's just got such a good attitude and he just stays all day. So, yeah, 9-4 then. I thought he was probably priced up accordingly. But, again, I ran the trends on this race.
Here we go.
And it gave me an each-way play. I'm slightly questioning the trends in the sense that I don't know if he's going to stay. This is Richmond Lake, and that is going to be the biggest concern for him. He hasn't tried this trip before, and even over the Aintree fences that he's been facing for, well, a few runs this season, he hasn't really been getting home. So this is an acid test for him, but he's another year older. He was a horse who started his career with so much potential and so much promise that I just feel he hasn't fully fulfilled. He did get those 4 wins sort of on the bounce of a summer break in between, though, but because of that, he just rose up the handicap as a result, got to a mark of 150. So he's been working his way back down. He is on his last winning mark. As I say, he's never tried a trip this far, but I think this is the time of his career to be trying it. He wants heavy ground. He is well treated. He's a course winner, older and stronger, and the trends are telling me. They are telling me to go with Richmond Lake then. 12-1 for an each-way play. You and I have got 2 big hangers here, because Trelawn likes to hang and I think your boy likes to hang. Oh, yeah, well. Exactly. Yeah. Maybe they'll push each other in the back in the right direction. Sam, at least, bounce off
Royal Pagaya's just going to see.
Well, I fancy, if the 3 of us line up going to the last together, I'd probably still fancy your lad with his attitude.
Yeah, I was going to say, with his attitude, he may take the fence with him, all things considered, but at least he might just be able to stay in a straight line, unlike R2, and mine might be getting tired by that point anyway. Good old Richmond Lake. So different ways to play the Peter Marsh, though. But do let us know in the comments section again below who you fancy for that competitive handicap chase, as we head over to the sofa to give you our best bets for the weekend. Right, no pressure now. It is our 100th episode, so our best bets had better be good for this one. So, Dec, you've got to kick us off.
Cool, yeah. 2 of the 3 we've already discussed on the show. The nap is going to be Phlegmatic at Ascot. Already made the case for him. I think 132. He is incredibly well handicapped on past form. Hope this has been the plan, given it's a 100 grand race with 52k to the winner. Tristan Durrell takes off a further £3. Got good form around Ascot. Let the dry ground. I hope he just goes close. The next bet then is going to go in the Warfield. I'm taking on Cargies. I'm not saying she cannot win, but I think she is an awful price at 4-7. I think you will get better 4-7 shots every single day of the week. And I'm going to take her on with the Skelton mare. Take no chances with Keelan Woods riding. I just think her form is right up there with Cargies. She's hard fit. She's a good hurdler, and Cargies can be very keen, very gassy, and Cargies' pedigree full of stamina. So I wonder, could she have the gears on good ground? I'll take a chance with the Skelton horse. And then the long shot we've already discussed as well is going to be Stoner's Choice. Like I said, he's got an awful profile for the race, but he's been in great form this season. He'll be up at the pace. The drop and trip is going to help. And yeah, BetVictor paying 4 places. If he ran into the 4 at 33s, that would be a lovely, profitable race.
You're confident this weekend?
I wouldn't. It's probably because I'm fresh, because we haven't had a proper racing in 2 weeks. So
that's more to the point.
And Deck's nearly a company man, highlighting 4 places. We've got his special without.
There we go. I haven't even mentioned the Winter Millions live on Sky Sports Racing this week. You know, Windsor, Ascot, Windsor. You know, Sky Sports Racing.
You're ticking every box. We will have him back for another 100
clearly
episodes.
had too much coffee this morning.
About that, Kate.
I know. We won't push it that far just yet, though. We'll save it next week.
You stop now, because I'll tell the viewers I was schooling you on the form book earlier. Schooled him so bad he had to change his nap.
We've had a bit of debate over this, haven't we? There, because Sam, we've had a few changes up in terms of that Warfield contest, though. So you've had to.
Yeah, I did make a very schoolboy error. So yeah, hands up there. So poor old producer Ben's got a bit of work to do, because I'm changing my nap. I'm going to go back. I don't know why my nap wasn't ever Jonbon, and I know people are like, oh, he's odds on 4 to 6. I'm going to say to win by 3 or more lengths as well. You can get that on the BetVictor slider, which we have for every race, basically. So you can get a bit of a price about those odds-on shots if you think they're going to win. I would be really concerned about Energumene on the ground. I've already highlighted that. Let's go to my next best, because that's a bit of a juicier price. We're going to go up to Haydock, and there's a really interesting race in the 305, which is a 3-mile handicap hurdle. And there's a few names that have been entered here, there and everywhere. And there's a team and a duo, and we can call them whatever you want, estate agents, everything else like. But the Hobbs and White guys, let's give them some respect and just call them really good horse trainers, because they've been flying. 53% strike rate in the last 2 weeks, and they run Tiny Tentley. Who is a really intriguing runner here, has won over shorter distances on rain-softened ground, soft ground at Exeter, was a winner over the trip at Taunton last time out. That did come on a faster surface, so needs to be able to handle Haydock heavy, but I think there's more to come from this horse, and they are absolutely winning with everything, it feels like at the moment. Around a 6-7 to 1 shot. So that was where I came down for my next best. Now, I cocked up on the long shot as well, guys. So hands up, this will only go in the books as a long shot if we get a double-digit price, because when I sent this to producer Ben, imagine in the Peter Marsh Chase was 10 to 1. Now 7 to 1. That's too short for me. But if it goes back out in price, which I think it will, I have to have a small saver on this horse. I'm very interested to see. Harry Derham obviously paid a lot of money. Forget the money side of it. They must have been disappointed with the run in the Paddy Power, but I think it was the ground. If you go back through the form book in Ireland, it was doing amazing things on that softer surface. Going to get the ground. I know Harry's had a difficult time with things with the gallop. Recent runners have perhaps been missing the target a little bit. He's been quiet. But I think he's got a really strong team out this weekend. If you look, he's got runners seemingly up and down the country. This horse will, at some stage, I'm confident, pick up a decent contest. Now, it might not be the Peter Marsh Chase, but if I get a double-digit price, that'll be my saver in the race.
He's got an interesting pedigree. His pedigree is full of stamina. It's incredible. He actually won over a grade 3 over 2 miles, I think. So, interesting.
Like I say, he's the kind of horse where loads of people are going to have a saver on, because everyone was on that Harry Derham first time out angle, and he was so disappointing. The Coldwell construction curse for CCC, then that will come in with so many of the horses. But imagine, though, you would literally imagine that he should.
But I will caveat it, Kate, because I know people don't like us putting up skinny long shots. It will need to drift out to be a registered long shot, to be fair.
OK, and
you won't be saying that if it wins. You'll be booming in the WhatsApp.
I should have put him as the nap. I'm pleased that you've gone Jonbon, though, because at 4 to 6, I know, like you say, people don't like when you nap an odds-on shot as such, but I don't think that is a bad price, though, whatsoever.
Pop it in your football whackers this weekend, if that's your sort of thing you like to do. I think 4 to 6 is really fair, and like I say, I'm expecting fireworks.
Yeah, I am as well, though. So I'm pleased that you've got him covered all the same, because I omitted him as my nap, though, because I'm going with Cotmass. So, yeah, I'm going to be taking you on then in the 2:15, the 2-mile 5 handicap chase for all of the aforementioned reasons. The fact that he's now getting a £15 pool with his old foe, Martator, taking into account claims and etc. But the fact he also got his head in front last time out at this track, which he clearly likes, is another positive, and hopefully it's given him a confidence booster and he can reverse the previous good place efforts behind Martator from earlier in the season. Now, my next best bet is another horse we've spoken about earlier on, Doddy the Great in the 2 mile 3 handicap hurdle to rewrite the wrong from last time out. Didn't get a run then last weekend because of the abandonments as well. Really well treated as judged on his solid effort from £3 higher in the Betfair hurdle last year. Trip should also show him to better effect. And Richmond Lake in the Peter Marsh, hopefully he gets home, or hopefully he hangs on long enough then to still run into a place all the same at 12 to 1. As I say, I am worried about that, but he is well treated. He likes heavy ground, likes Haydock. Ran really well last time out behind the very informed Imperial Saint as well for the informed private detectives as well then had Aintree, which just went to show that he is very well treated off this mark of 1:42. Right, lads, that is everything from us.
We finally got some racing on.
We finally got some racing.
100 not out, hopefully.
Yeah, it would have been a very disappointing show had it been the abandoned weekend of last weekend, actually, wouldn't it, then, for our 100th. But, lads, thank you so much for your efforts, as always. A big thank you to you for watching. Again, do get involved in the comment section below with any of your selections ahead of this weekend. And we'll be back at the same time next Friday to preview Cheltenham Trials Day.